Hi guys. So today's video is going to be another funny 1-star reviews, and it's specifically for The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. If you've never seen my funny 1-star reviews, it's where I take a popular book or series and then I find a lot of the people that really passionately do not like the book, and I read their really funny or really over-the-top reviews to you guys. Even if you haven't read the particular book that I have picked, you can still watch this because I always make sure that I don't actually read any reviews that give away any spoilers. And also, I always give you guys a very brief description of the book. That way you can kind of chuckle a little bit at some of the reviews and you know a little bit of what they're talking about. The premise for this book is that it takes place in a world that is very heavily influenced by its magic system, and that magic system is derived off of colors. The way it works is that some people have the ability to draw from certain colors, and then they are able to use magic based off of those colors. The different colors have different properties. Some people have the ability to use 1, some people have the ability to use 2, some 3, and then there is one individual known as the Prism who has the ability to use all of the colors. This particular individual happens to be one of the main perspectives, and another main perspective is his son that he finds out he has with a person that supposedly he was with one time, and he has to go out and find this person because it's kind of a big deal for the Prism to have a kid. Now that you have a basic idea of the plot, I'm gonna get into the funny 1-star reviews. Some of these reviews are the entire review and some of them are just snippets of the review, but the first one says, another reviewer said the writing reminded him of a 15-year-old boy trying to describe adult experiences. That resonates more with me than the writing. The next one says, I have tried to finish this book several times. I just can't. In concept, it is very interesting. The world is great, but then you meet the characters. A big hint is that the book has lines like this. Kip ran like Samson, as if Samson was carrying another Samson on his shoulders. The next one says, if you want to read a stupid fantasy book that is overhyped, this is the one you should read. But make sure you have some booze on the side as you read it. I wish I did. Yeah, next time I might do that and read these books in a drunken state. Who knows? It might be fun. The next one says, when I told my boyfriend I was going to pick this up, he groaned and said, after reading Night Angel, I will never trust Brent Weeks again. And he tried to persuade me from reading this book. After getting halfway through it, I wish I had taken his advice because this book haunts me. Every time I think I'm safe, it creeps up on me and reminds me that it exists, and I was foolish enough to subjugate myself to its filth. And no matter how many times I wash my eyes with bleach, I still feel Weeks' awful prose nagging at me. It's just plain bad, like the kind of stuff a teenage boy would write. But that's also not completely true, because there are plenty of teenagers out there who can write better stuff than this. This next one is one of my favorites. It said, reading this book was the visual equivalent of listening to Gregorian chants. This one says, the 1 star is for the magic system, which was cool. And that's the nicest thing I could say about this. Twice as long as it needed to be. Dear Lord, red pens were invented for a reason. This one says, I'd like the wasted hours of my life back. The next one says, Brent Weeks is the Cinnabon of epic fantasy. Terrible, but filling. And afterwards, you feel kind of sick. This one says, a poor, picked-on boy discovers he has magical powers, personal strength, and he's the son of a king? Gee, there's a unique plot and progression. The next one says, this is probably the second book in my whole life that I'm DNFing. I didn't have it in me to continue. Whenever I was reading it, all I could think of was how there were other books and things I could be doing instead of going through this overwordy and underwhelming world. This one says, this reads like a collection of the fighting and sex fantasies of a 13-year-old boy. Bizarrely sexist, horrible writing, boring plot with confusing backstories. The whole thing was a mess. The only thing I liked was the magic system. This next one says, I like Brent Weeks, but this was absolutely terrible writing. It felt like my frontal lobe was humping a cheese grater. This person says, not my cup of tea. I'll read the second book since I got them both at the library at the same time, but then that's it. This one says, can Kindle books be returned? The writing stinks. I like the idea, but please. This one says, someone has said that this book was written for 15-year-olds. That's not fair to 15-year-olds. This one says, this book is a useful litmus test. If you meet a person who claims to love this book, then either they haven't actually read it or they're a sociopathic jerk. Warning you ahead of time, they'll act different after you're married. This one says, oh, mainstream publishers, do you ever bother reading the completed manuscript anymore? This one says, it reads like a high school student trying to impress their teacher with adjectives. The next 1-star review for the book says, No idea how good this book is since I can't read it. My preferred method for reading books is the cloud reader, which lets me use any web browser. For some reason, despite the available on all devices icon up top, this particular title is, quote, not available for cloud reader. What the heck? For me, Kindle is all about convenience, and nothing is more convenient than being able to use any web browser on any computer. A little warning next time, Amazon. And this last one first starts off with the subject line saying, a major discrepancy ruined it for me. And then that's followed by the review, which says, I have to stop reading this book. I just don't understand how this boy in this age is so fat. His mom was a drug abuser, so he didn't have any money and he had a rough childhood, so where'd he get all the food? Then the story contradicts itself, sometimes saying that the boy is so fat that he can't do things, and then sometimes it has him walking and rowing long distances, or it has him running for some long lengths of time. It also says that will has everything to do with magic. If the boy had a strong will, he wouldn't be overweight, in my opinion. That's it for the funny 1-star reviews for Black Prism. If you've read the book, let me know if you feel like these 1-star reviews are really inaccurate, or let me know if you think they're painfully accurate. And if you haven't read the book, but you found some of these funny regardless, let me know which ones were your favorite. If you're interested in seeing more funny 1-star review videos, I'll link them over here. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Happy reading to all of you, and I'll see you later. Bye.